So, today we're going to talk about Ecolab. Now, you probably know them for, the soap in a restaurant bathroom or maybe the stuff that keeps your office floors clean. But what if I told you there's this hidden and honestly pretty mind-blowing connection between their business and the biggest tech story out there right now, the AI revolution? Right? That's the big question we're going to tackle. How on earth does a company that literally deals with water and hygiene suddenly become so important to the world of artificial intelligence? It just doesn't seem to add up, but stick with me, because the answer reveals this super fundamental and often overlooked piece of the puzzle that makes the whole AI world turn.
Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at Ecolab's latest report card. How'd they do this past quarter? Did they pass with flying colors? Let's find out.
Well, if you just glance at the surface, it's kind of a mixed bag. You see, they absolutely crushed it on their profitability test, but they came up just a little bit short on their revenue exam. Let's break down what that actually means.
First up, the big win, profitability. They hit an earnings per share of $2.08, which just barely beat what Wall Street was expecting. Now, what that tells you is that this company is running a really tight ship. They're managing their costs like a hawk. But then you look at the revenue side. They brought in almost $4.2 billion, which is a ton of money, but it was just a hair under the forecast. It's not a huge miss by any means, but it does make you go, okay, so what's really going on under the hood here? And that's because that tiny revenue miss really doesn't tell the whole story. Not even close. When you start to peel back the layers, what you actually see is a company where some parts are just firing on all cylinders, while other parts are hitting some, let's call them temporary speed bumps. Yeah, this is what's so fascinating. Their main businesses, things like food and beverage and life sciences, they're just soaring. But they're getting dragged down a little by weaker demand in older industries like paper and the short-term thing with distributor inventories. All that really means is that the middlemen who sell Ecolab's products just ordered a little less stuff to keep on their own shelves. It's a temporary dip that messes with the numbers for a bit. So, given that mixed performance, what's Ecolab's big plan to get stronger, to get more efficient? Well, it all comes down to this massive internal project they're calling One Ecolab. At its core, One Ecolab is all about streamlining the entire organization. The idea is to act like a single, unified company so they can serve their biggest clients better and at the same time find huge cost savings in how they do business. And the strategy really has two key parts. First, they're putting an intense focus on their top 35 global customers, really nurturing those key relationships to drive growth. And second, they're going all in on using tech, including their own AI and these centralized global centers, to just slash their administrative and sales costs. And get this really shows you how ambitious they are. The program is working so well that they've already raised their savings target to a whopping $325 million by 2027. This isn't just about trimming a little fat here and there. This is a total re-engineering of how their whole operation works. But here is the absolutely crucial point. Those massive savings, they aren't just for making the profit numbers look good. Ecolab sees that money as the fuel for its most exciting, fastest-growing opportunities. So think about their business like this. About 80% of it is their stable core business, but they've carved out this vital 20% of the company that they call their growth engines, and that's where they're placing all their bets for the future. And here they are. These are the 4 divisions they expect to grow at a double-digit pace. And just look at how tech-focused they are, right? You've got pest elimination using smart devices, a whole digital unit, and, most important for our story, that global high-tech division. And that global high-tech engine, that's what brings us right back to our big question from the beginning. This is the hidden link. This is the reason a company famous for cleaning supplies is now a make-or-break supplier for the entire AI industry. Ecolab's own CEO, Christoph Beck, he put it perfectly. And to really get what they're doing, you have to understand this one simple truth. At the heart of AI is water. Let's break down exactly what that means. Okay, it all starts right here. Every single AI model, whether it's ChatGPT or the systems in self-driving cars, it runs on these unbelievably powerful, specialized semiconductor chips. Plain and simple. Without these chips, there is no AI. Now here's connection number 1. The process of making these chips is incredibly delicate. It requires gigantic quantities of water that is thousands of times purer than the water used for medical injections. We're talking about water so clean, it's practically an alien substance. But the need for water doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. Once those chips are made, they get packed into these enormous data centers. And these places consume an insane amount of electricity, which, of course, generates a ridiculous amount of heat that you have to deal with.
And this is where it all clicks into place. Generating all that power requires a lot of water, and the best, most efficient way to cool down thousands of screaming hot AI chips? You guessed it, it's water. From the moment a chip is born to the moment it processes data, the entire AI lifecycle is completely dependent on water.
And this is precisely where Ecolab steps in. Through smart moves like buying a company called Ovivo, they now provide the critical ultra-pure water systems needed to make the chips in the first place. And they're also rolling out new liquid cooling solutions that go directly onto the chips to keep those data centers from melting down. They are literally solving the AI industry's two biggest water problems. So I'll leave you with this final thought. For decades, the tech world has been all about managing data. But as the very real physical demands of AI become clearer every day, we might just find that managing a physical resource, like water, is going to be just as critical to our digital future. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.